check. Hey. Oh, welcome back to the podcast. On today's episode, are you mad? Did you wake up in a bad mood? Are you angry? Today, we're going to talk about that anger.
Just these guys, you know.
Yes, indeed.
We got Pastor Mike on the mic.
We got Dr. Parker in the house.
And we're ready to get angry.
Yeah. Oh. I'm mad.
Man, I'm going to put these headphones on.
Just,
it's like a whole nother world.
You just stepped right into the room. It's like you're not in the room, you're in the room.
Now, I noticed when I said the topic today would be anger, you got a little quiet.
Well, so I was thinking, okay, what about it?
No, you were thinking, did Don call you?
Yeah. Did she say something? Yeah. No, I didn't think that, but I probably should have.
Should have. Hey, we got a winner.
Anger.
And speaking of winners, Mike is the winner of the latest book.
Yes.
By Dr. Lance Parker.
Bro, look at that cover. That is a amazing cover. That turned out really, really good.
And the title of the book is
Anger Management, Transform Anger into Advantage.
Boom.
Boom. I like that. I like that. I got to actually witness kind of the transformation of title, cover, all that. And I think you landed on the perfect spot. That's good.
I'm hoping.
Wow.
It is 104 pages.
Yeah.
And it has 9 chapters. And the way it is written is a individual could pick up this book, sit down, and work each individual chapter and learn anger management.
Wow.
It is also designed if somebody wanted to run an anger management class or a group. This would be a perfect book to accompany that. You could do an 8-week class, chapter a week. This is the way it was written, the way it was designed. So this would make a perfect textbook for somebody's class or group on anger management. And then finally, what's in the works is a video series on anger management based on the book that will go up behind a paywall. And anybody in America, in Canada, in Australia could go to that website and there will be a link to it. It's a few weeks out, but they will be able to sign in and take an anger management course online with a written test. And it will be certifiable and acceptable to the courts, to the probation officer, to the parole officer.
Oof.
I'm meeting with the judges in the next week or two to kind of review everything with them so they can see what it is and give their good housekeeping seal of approval, although I've already spoken to a few of them and they're excited about this. They're really wanting to see this happen. So,
but it's available to anybody. You don't have to be court ordered.
No. Don't wait till you're court ordered.
Yeah, if you got anger you're wanting to turn into an advantage just because you got anger, well, and you can take this course.
One of the reasons why I did it like this was because people with an anger management problem, either one, don't recognize it, their spouses, their family recognize it, and they're telling them you got an anger problem. Well, if your husband or wife has an anger problem, they don't think they have an anger problem, you can buy them this book. And stick around. I'm going to give you a secret about anger to why you want to get the book. Whether you have anger or don't have anger, or whether your spouse has anger or whatever. But also, if you don't want to go to classes. I've run the classes, and it's just a bunch of grumpy old people sitting in there who've been court ordered. So if you're volunteering to go into this, you're going into the lion's den. A bunch of negative people sitting there hating life. So nobody wants to just volunteer to go to an anger management class,
right?
So you can get this and get all the exact same materials I would do in a class. In the comfort of your own home, in the privacy of your own home. Nobody has to know you're doing this.
Yeah.
And pretty soon you'll be able to sign up for a class online and be able to take the course online so that you don't get arrested.
Sure, yeah.
Or your spouse doesn't leave you because you got an anger problem, or you don't fall into the bottle because you don't know how else to handle your anger.
This could be the most important change that you make
Could be.
Last week's episode. Is this going to eventually come out in Audible or audio form?
I'm debating the audiobook.
Yeah.
But definitely it would make a perfect book. It'll be sitting on Amazon and all the places where you get your books normally soon. This is hot off the presses, straight in from the printer in Pennsylvania, by the way. Shout out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the Steelers, but also the publisher is located in Pennsylvania. So they just mailed me a copy, and you get the first copy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doc.
Maybe your dad gets the second.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that he has anger issues.
No. Not that you haven't mentioned that in church a time or two.
Listen, we all have got, talk about the snow fuse, how there isn't one.
Right.
That's a fact. So I'm excited and looking forward to checking this out. How long ago did you start this project?
I haven't looked at my calendar.
It's been a minute though.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to see it come to life.
Yeah. Probably about 6, 7, 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 10, 12 months ago.
Which in the big picture isn't a long time.
A year ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's finally come to fruition. It's here now.
Love it.
And I love the artwork on the cover.
Oh man, it looks good.
So,
sweet. Well, tell us a little bit about this.
Well, the premise of the book, and for those who wonder why I'm speaking about anger, in 1999, after my internship ended, I needed to do a postdoc, 1-year postdoc, to get my license. For licensing purposes, you have to, after you get your doctorate, you have to then do a 1-year postdoc work somewhere. And one of the places that I was kind of interviewing with said in a left-handed way, instead of just yes or no, they said, well, Lester Lee is retiring and we need somebody who can run the anger management program.
Lester Lee.
You recognize the name?
No.
Okay.
I just like the name.
And I said, well, why didn't you say so? Anger is my favorite emotion.
It's right up my alley.
I got this. And so I sat in with the Lester Lee and I began to do research on anger management. And I was frankly appalled at all the programs out there because they required you to admit you were an abuser or admit you have a problem with anger. And it was all along the 12-step model lines where you had to admit you were powerless over this. And the way the programs were run were more like prison. Where you would sit through these classes and they would, show you, news articles of a guy who got angry and beat his wife to death, like, and there's a lot of scare tactics and shame and tactics. And then every month there would be a status conference in which they would sit down with, the various clients in the program to review their progress. And it was like a parole hearing. Yes, I wanted to thank you so much for this class. I didn't realize how much I needed it. And I've grown so much working with you. I think you need another month. What? You son of a...
Yeah.
So I changed everything.
Yeah.
And I made it into a class as opposed to group therapy. And I threw out the program that they were using and then wrote my own. And I wrote it from this perspective. If I were struggling with anger, what are solutions? Not shame, not guilt, not don't do it, not fear mongering, but how do we change?
Yep.
And that's a crazy question, well, how do we actually fix this thing?
Yeah.
And the first thing I came to is this concept. And this guided everything that's in this book. So pay attention. If you want to know whether or not to buy the book, pay attention to this, because this is what everything in the book is built on. Anger is good.
That's a little different approach.
anger is a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's based on this concept, whether you believe in God or evolution, you have anger. Okay, so God said, I made you in my likeness. Well, did God make a mistake?
Nope.
And if God made you in his likeness and you have anger, ergo, God has anger. I don't think there's anything wrong with God. So we've got this thing, evolution said those species with these features move forward in the evolutionary chain and procreate and grow. Those species without certain features die off. So either way you go, anger is a component of us for a purpose.
Sure.
So our job is not to try to shut it down, pretend we don't have it. Our job is to figure out what is the purpose of this particular emotion and how do I use it to my advantage?
How can it become righteous anger?
How do I use it as designed? And the thing is, in reality, and I'm not going to go through all 9 chapters of the book here today, but when you use anger as designed, as I teach you in this book, when you use anger as designed, people don't call you angry. People say you're motivated, you're driven, you're determined, you have fortitude, you withstand stuff. When you use the emotion of anger as it was designed and focusing that, because all anger is energy and focus. I mean, when you get mad, you can only think about the thing you're mad about.
Sure.
So you're focused.
Yeah.
And your
energy level is up.
Your energy level goes up. Your adrenaline's pumping. The eyes are wide. You're shaking. You're trembling. You can't sit down. You can't sleep. You have energy and you have focus, and that gives you an excellent problem-solving tool to use to your advantage. And so it's learning emotions, learning the purpose of emotions, learning how emotions fit into all of this. There's an anger model in there that breaks down how all this flows from interactions with other people up to the point where you have this energy. Now, what do you do with all that energy? How do you use it? There's 8 specific steps to use anger energy in a healthy, productive, effective way so that you solve the problems that you're dealing with. And when you use that energy in the way this book shows you to use it, people don't call you angry.
Sure.
People don't say you have an anger problem. People don't, shy away from you. People don't, walk on eggshells around you.
They call you confident.
Yes.
Assertive.
They
call you a go-getter.
They call you serious.
Yeah.
Hey, wow, you're serious.
You're serious about getting her done. Yeah. That's
So,
good.
So yeah, the book is going to be out soon. Watch for it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble's, Book a Million, wherever you get your books. It'll be out there.
So I'm telling you right now, the 12-2 book, the first book.
Yes.
Excellent. Every single person that I've given a copy of that book to absolutely loves it. And this book as well, I'm very much looking forward to reading this, but I know darn well that this is going to help a lot of people. So I have a favor to ask everybody who's listening to this, and then especially the folks who are watching this on YouTube. We are right at the precipice of 3,000 subscribers.
Oh.
We are at 2.99, 2,990 something. It's all the further it goes, 2.99. So I need all of you to, if you haven't hit subscribe if you're checking this out, and then send this to somebody and invite them to subscribe, because the whole reason that we do this is simply to put an effort into helping people. And the more people hesitate on subscribing, the angrier I get. No, it's going to help a whole lot of people. And so if you want to do yourself a favor and somebody that you love a favor, send this to them and ask them to subscribe and then get the book.
What's so interesting is we don't get a lot of comments on the shows on the YouTube,
right,
or on the Facebook, feedback. But I get calls from people.
Oh yeah, me too.
I get emails, I get text messages from people about the shows. They don't want to put it out there. I think everybody's afraid of cancel culture anymore. They don't want to put their name and face out there on something like this. Now, if you got a funny cat video, you're like, hey, that's cute.
Yeah, this is a fact.
But they're not going to put their name out there on something serious. But really, honestly, part in the back of my head over the past couple of months, been thinking we've been beating a dead horse on some of the 4 fundamentals.
Sure.
And yesterday I got an email from a guy who has, within the past 6 months, discovered the podcast. And he's been listening to it and watching it on YouTube. And his comment was, you've been asking for thoughts about ideas for new shows, in his email. And then he answered his own question. Hammer away at the 4 fundamentals. Those things are priceless. Keep going.
Yeah, I guess we're going to beat that dead horse even more.
But the great thing about the 4 fundamentals and getting that book and learning those really well is they integrate into the anger management program. They're an integral part of appropriate anger management.
Yeah.
I don't even like the term anger management, but it's what everybody calls it. Because we're not managing it. We're actually maybe anger utilization.
Sure.
I don't know.
Right.
But those 4 fundamentals are integral to this book. And a couple of times in the book, it says, I can give you a snapshot here, but you really need to go read the other book to get a deeper dive on it.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, the other day I was at the paint store. Of all places, the paint store. And I'm standing there at the counter, and there's a young lady behind the counter, and she says something to me. She said, and I couldn't really hear her because there was a dude mixing paint right behind her.
Right,
big
right.
machine. And so I said, what's that? And she says, you ever from any company? And I'm just staring at her like a weirdo. And I'm sorry. And she goes, and she points at me. And I so badly wanted to just go, yeah. Because I cannot hear her. So I'm now an old man, can't hear her. And so I lean way in and I said, I can't not hear you. And she goes, you have your own podcast? And I stood up, and it always still hits me as weird when somebody mentions the podcast. I'm like, I said, yeah. I said, how do you know that? And she points, I was wearing the hat. She recognized, she thought, okay, that face fits that hat, that face on that hat. And I thought, that is pretty amazing because I don't really think it looks a lot like me, but it was just fun to have somebody say, you have your own podcast?
Great job, Gino.
Yeah, nice job, Gino. So anyway, we just want to get the word out that this is, 15, 20, 25 minutes worth your time to just grab a hold of something that is beneficial and then share that with others. So we love doing this.
We do.
And I greatly appreciate everything that you do to make this continue to go and for putting the effort into getting these books put together. And they're going to help a lot of folks. I love it.
And it's part of, like on in your job, in your career path as a pastor,
right?
You get a bunch of people on Sunday, and you get to kind of feed them 15 minutes, 20 minutes,
right?
That's that's not enough,
right?
That's just scratching the itch.
Yep.
And so you're always looking for other ways to help them grow. And you do the Tuesday night, Bibles and barbecue, and you've done classes and seminars and things in the past, trying to get people the opportunities to dive deeper and learn more so they can grow more.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same with me is I get somebody once a week for an hour, maybe once every 2 weeks for an hour. And then they're kind of on their own for the next 14 days. And if there's any way I can give them something that they can continue on a daily basis to kind of, get their toes wet and learn and grow, that's, I think part of the reason why I feel you and I are called to do this is it's very unsatisfying to us to get somebody once a week for, 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And knowing that there's so much more they need to be able to grow and to transform and to have a better life. And so looking for opportunities to get that information out there to other people.
Yeah.
Is just why we're doing it.
Good stuff. Well, I look forward to diving into this. Anger management, transform anger into management. Coming soon. Beautiful.
Wait. Stop. Which one's the record scratch? It's the green one. There we go. Hold on. Anger management. Transform anger into advantage.
There we go. Now. Got it. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today. This is going to be so good.
We are just these guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Keep an eye out for the book. It'll be available Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you get your books fairly soon.
We got Dr. Parker in the house.
And Pastor Mike.
Have an awesome week.
See you guys next week.